we've done a poor job in Afghanistan.
Okay, well, let me
we
ask
did
you,
an even poorer job in Iraq.
Okay, in Afghanistan, you think it was legitimate to invade them because they had harbored terrorists that had attacked us, right?
Yep.
So that would be an addition to your principle. If another country has harbored terrorists that have attacked us, then it's okay to attack them militarily.
Yeah, if we think that that's good.
Okay,
what's
so
needed.
let
Sure.
me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Has Pakistan harbored terrorists that have attacked us?
Yeah, probably. They've harbored terrorists more than
They
they've
harbored
attacked
bin Laden for at least 5 years.
I know. Yeah, I know. And
so should we attack them militarily?
The thing is, it depends. This is why I say libertarians. One of the fundamental problems with libertarians
we
is they are
follow
simple.
that principle.
No. This is the thing. You don't want a principle. You want a magic formula, and libertarians have
we
to
got
go
one
in.
already.
Excuse me. This is your magic formula. I'm saying you're living in fantasy land. Let me tell you why you're living in fantasy land. Okay? Because you take a look at the situation and you say, okay, do I like Pakistan as a government? No, they're terrible. Okay, but you have to ask, what is the most effective way of dealing with, let's say, terrorists being harbored in Pakistan? That is a strategic and a tactical question. Okay.
Previously, you said that if they harbor terrorists, it's okay to attack them.
I have told you that we've got to pull out of fantasy land where you're living and come into the real world.
That's not the principle.
You have to come into the real world. Okay. Here's the real world.
I'm trying.
Okay, I'm going to try to help you to come into the real world. Here's how you do it. Okay. You have a situation where you have to ask, what is the most effective way of dealing with, let's say, terrorists being harbored in a certain country? Well, you have to ask a couple of questions about that. You have to ask, is the government itself acquiescing in this and saying, yeah, we don't mind? Or is the government basically saying, we don't particularly like this, but we just don't have control over those provinces? That's the case in Pakistan.
No, in Pakistan they were living. Bin Laden was living in a city that was next to the military.
No, I'm talking not just about Bin Laden, but there's a whole territory up there where most of the terrorists are. It's where Bin Laden was, but there's some other northern territories there where
it was in the city.
Yeah, he was in a city that was out in the provinces. Okay, he wasn't in Karachi. But here's the point. The point is this: you have to ask a question. What is the most effective way of dealing with them? And you have to ask a question is, well, for example, is the government of Pakistan helping and cooperating with us in doing this?
So,
versus,
bottom line, so it's not one of your principles.
Excuse me, you keep talking about living in fantasy land. I'm working in the real world, not where you're at.
The other principle that you said we could use is if they harbor terrorists that attack us.
Excuse me, I've said.
But we're going to discard that one.
I said.
That's not a principle we should always follow.
I'm saying that you're still trying to have some magic formula.
I'm trying to get
I'm trying to tell you what the real world is, okay? And I think your concept of principles is incorrect.
Tell me why.
Here's why. Let me give you this example, and maybe this doesn't apply across the board, but let me give you this one example. You take a look at, let's say, Afghanistan versus Pakistan, okay? Both are regimes that are not very good, and we probably both agree about that, okay? Under the Taliban in Afghanistan, they not only were they not cooperating with us, they knew Bin Laden was there. They were harboring him. They were okay with the bad guys, so to speak, who were attacking us. Okay, and so there wasn't any let's work with the military of the Taliban to try to root out the bad guys. Okay. Now, what about Pakistan? The Pakistani government, first of all, is a mess. It's a mix. There are people in the Pakistani government who don't like Al-Qaeda. There are people and leaders of the Pakistani government who are cooperating with us to try to root them out. There are also elements in the Pakistani government, especially in their intelligence agency, that actually help back the attack in Mumbai on India, okay? That's not a very good situation. But you ask, is the government of Pakistan actually helping us to root out the terrorists or not? That's going to be one of the factors that goes into whether how do we deal with Pakistan. Okay? That's the real world. That's not your fantasy land.
So we can't attack them simply because they're harboring terrorists that have attacked us. That's not a good rule to follow.